Είναι στην Ελλάδα από τον Αύγουστο του 2020, 1,5 χρόνο τώρα. Είναι η πρώτη φορά που μιλάει και μιλάει στην Nova, μιλάει στην εκπομπή Μάντι-FC. Είναι ο Μαρκ Κλάτενμπεργκ, είναι ο Άγγλος αρχιδιαιτητής. Είναι η κουβέντα για διατησία που πάντα έτσι συναρπάζει, ιντριγκάρει, έχει πολλά πράγματα να βάλει στο τραπέζι, έχει πολλές ερωτήσεις και βεβαίως έχει πολλές και ποικίλες απαντήσεις. Μίλησε πριν από λίγο στην εκπομπή και πάμε να δούμε μαζί παρέα τι μας είπε.
Καλησπέρα κύριε Κλάτενμπεργκ και ευχαριστούμε που είστε μαζί μας σήμερα.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Αναλάβατε τον Αύγουστο του 2020. Ποιες ήταν οι αρμοδιότητες και ποιοι οι στόχοι όταν αναλάβατε τη δουλειά και είσαστε πλέον ο άρχον της διατησίας στην Ελλάδα?
It's always an interesting an appointment. I just finished my refereeing career in China, so it was now time to broaden my experiences in management of the refereeing. I had some experiences in Saudi Arabia previously before China, so when the opportunity came for a position within Greece, it was a challenge that I always wanted to do. I like big challenges, difficult challenges, one that I knew was very toxic environment, but one that I wanted to pass on my big experiences from what I had from the Premier League. One of my tasks immediately was to get the referees' trust and also the clubs to work closely more with the clubs to give them better understanding, educate the referees. But it was very difficult because of COVID. I came at a very difficult period because we can't meet the referees on a regular basis. However, we can start to do that once the pandemic is over. And one of the big things that I always promised, I wanted to try and make the referees professional. And this is what I'm trying to work with the HFF, Hellenic Football Federation, and the government to try and implement professional refereeing to make the referees more individual, more isolated, so that we can control them and make them better and more safe.
Για να πάρετε αυτή τη θέση έχετε κάνει συνεντεύξεις ξεχωριστά με τους 4 Big Four, όπως τους λέμε, ΠΑΟΚ, ΑΕΚ, Παναθηναϊκό, Ολυμπιακό. Τι έγινε, τι σας ζήτησαν οι ομάδες σε αυτή τη συζήτηση και τι ζητήσατε εσείς?
It was, I had an interview, there was 2 persons for the interview. The Big Four was the decision that was taken by UEFA and the Hellenic Football Federation that the Big 4 clubs would do the interviews. They asked me a series of questions. I give them my answers. They certainly liked my answers, but I don't see it, even though I was interviewed by the Big 4 clubs, I don't see this is the case. I believe that every club within Super League have the right, and I speak to all the presidents because for me, it's not just about the Big 4, it's about everybody in the league that they feel that they are getting the best referees, they are getting the fair decisions, and this is what I try to do every week to make sure that all the clubs have the same right. And I have to say, now I feel that I'm seeing now Greek football in a better place, because now the smaller clubs, for example, can now beat the bigger clubs, and this is something that is very good for the league, that everybody has the right to challenge, and as long as the refereeing is fair, okay, we bring in some foreign referees. This was a decision that was made before I arrived in Greece. However, with a balance of Greek referees coming back to the pitch with foreign VARs, I believe that we can give the Greek referees the better experiences in the bigger matches.
Έχετε πολύ δίκιο που βάζετε στο σύνολό του το ελληνικό ποδόσφαιρο. Από την απάντησή σας φανταζόμαστε ότι δεν θέλετε να μπείτε σε περισσότερες λεπτομέρειες για το τι συζητήθηκε μεταξύ εσάς και των εκπροσώπων των Big Four.
I think all the owners just want the same message, that the refereeing can be as fair as possible. I think the clubs still want some foreign referees. I think last season we had some Greek referees refereeing the derbies, which for me is more important because I want to bring back the Greek referees, but in the correct way. I think still we have problems. We have a lot of clubs still unhappy with some refereeing decisions. This is natural. When you watch the Premier League, you watch the Italian League, you watch football around the world, everybody is always complaining about the refereeing. But as long as the refereeing, from my side, we are trying to push them to be the best they can. We have to accept that we are humans. We all make mistakes. As long as the mistakes are correct, and not ulterior motives, then for me, this is what I'm trying to do every week. The big four owners, they are very powerful people within Greece. They are very strong people. However, they get always the same message that I'm doing my best in a very difficult environment, and I will continue doing my best, what I believe from my big experiences that I've had as a referee, to pass on my experiences to make the league and make Greek football the best it can be.
Μένοντας λίγο σε αυτό, το ότι κατά καιρούς οι ομάδες και οι Big Four βγάζουν ανακοινώσεις και έρουν την εμπιστοσύνη προς το πώς σας αυτό σας επηρεάζει, το διαβάζετε, ασχολείστε?
I'm informed about everything that happens in the media. I'm sure that's one of the most difficult jobs. We've seen other people from UEFA come to Greece and they were in exactly the same position. I think when a team loses, there is always a complaint. This is something that we have to accept in Greece, that it's always the referee's fault, even if they lose in a fair way, because they also, and I understand football a lot, that presidents have the football fans, they're unhappy, everybody's unhappy at the club. So when they lose, there is always a complaint. If I look this season and the past seasons, I don't see many scandals. If I watch other leagues around the world, they are making more mistakes than the referees in Greece. So from my side, the clubs can complain. I meet every president when they come to ask me. I have an open door. This is something previous presidents didn't do, head of CRCs didn't do. I've always been open to meet any president if they have a complaint. We address the complaint and then we can try and move forward. And this is one thing that I hope that people can understand, that I'm trying my best. And with the presidents, I'm trying to make Greek football and Greek refereeing the best it can be.
Ο κύριος Κούμπελ σε μια συνέντευξή του πρόσφατα είπε ότι είναι ικανοποιημένοι από το έργο σας και θα ήθελε η UEFA να συνεχίσει, εσείς να συνεχίσετε να κάνετε τη δουλειά σας στην Ελλάδα και τα επόμενα χρόνια. Αυτό που ξέρουμε όμως είναι ότι για να συνεχίσετε πρέπει, και πείτε μας αν είναι και έτσι, 3 στις 4 ομάδες να είναι ικανοποιημένες στο τέλος της χρονιάς. Τελικά ποιανού απόφαση είναι, των ομάδων ή της UEFA το να συνεχίσετε και την επόμενη χρονιά?
Ή και της Ομοσπονδίας.
I'm disappointed by that question, and I will say why. I don't believe that it's got nothing to do with the Big Four. I believe that if the Football Federation, the government, and the clubs, all of the clubs, not just the Big Four, every club has a right within Super League One. If they believe that I'm doing a good job, then and they want to extend my contract, that's something they can offer me if they believe I'm doing a good job. So I don't believe that the Big Four have the right to decide my future. I believe that everybody, including the federation and the government and all the clubs, have a right to decide what is best for their league. Because for me, if they believe I'm not doing a good enough job, then I'm sure that I will leave my contract at the end of the season and move on to something different. But if they want me to stay, to carry on my project, because one thing that I learned very quickly, I can't change everything overnight. I can't change it in one day. I can't change it in 1 week. I need time to change the referees. I removed some referees last season. I can remove more referees at the end of the season. I can train more referees to be VAR certified, which means they can referee in Super League One. This can't happen overnight. We need time. And one thing I will always say to the Greek people is, if you keep changing the heads, the CRC heads, you have no continuity. You have no plans. You just keep changing different plans. And I have the plans. I'm working, like I said, to professionalize the refereeing. This takes time. I'm also looking at VAR for Super League 2. This takes time. If they want to replace me, then they have to find someone else to do their job. And I believe that the best thing that can happen for Greek football is a foreign expert to carry on their work for the next 2 years, and then to bring the Greeks, once the clubs have the trust, to bring the Greeks back to doing their job. Because for me, the most important is that Greek head of CRC is the future once the clubs have the confidence.
Κύριε Κλάτενμπεργκ, το μοντέλο συνεργασίας με την ΕΠΟ ποιο είναι? Υπάρχει μια συγκεκριμένη ρουτίνα, αριθμός meeting, σεμιναρίων, ο τρόπος λειτουργίας ανάμεσα στις δύο πλευρές, τη δικιά σας και της Ομοσπονδίας?
For me, it would be fantastic if we could have more meetings. I think because we've had the pandemic, the COVID-19, it's been very, very difficult. I meet the president of the federation for many meetings. We have some directions. He wants to listen to my feedbacks. With the referees, it's always been difficult to have the seminars because online seminars are not so good. We can give some messages. I speak to the referees every day, every week. We have very regular contacts. We have, for example, I introduce psychologists now to the referees. They have Zoom meetings with psychologists. They have their fitness. We educate them a lot in not just the laws of the game, but also how to manage football matches, because refereeing is not just about the laws of the game. They are refereeing an event. So it's important that they understand. So we spend a lot of time. I want to have more meetings, but this will only happen once the pandemic is over and we are safe to do so.
Από ό,τι τουλάχιστον εγώ κατάλαβα και από ό,τι ακούγεται και από φήμες ή από στόματα διαιτητών, τον πρώτο χρόνο ήταν πιο ικανοποιημένοι και το δεύτερο χρόνο οι Έλληνες διατητές έχουν ένα παράπονο ότι λίγο τους βάλατε στην άκρη και χρησιμοποιείτε παραπάνω ξένους. Μία εξήγηση μπορεί να είναι, από ό,τι ξέρω εγώ τουλάχιστον, ότι σας έχουν γνωστοποιήσει παράπονα, bullying που δέχονται από Έλληνες παράγοντες και αυτό το πράγμα, κατά τη γνώμη μου, μπορεί να επηρέασε και τη δική σας σκέψη, βάζοντας λίγο στην άκρη τους Έλληνες διατητές, γιατί μπορεί να δέχονται παραπάνω πιέσεις. Θα ήθελα να μου επιβεβαιώσετε ή όχι αυτό.
I don't think the referees are under any more pressure. I think what I've tried to do this season is to give the Greek referees a chance on the pitch with a foreign VAR in some important matches. So the Greek referees are now getting more experience. I think the message was very clear at the end of the season, my first season, that bad performances or bad referees will not referee in Super League. Statistics tell me that they didn't perform because I don't always evaluate their performances. They have observers from Greece giving them a mark every week, and I have a merit table. So the merit table proved that some referees were not to the level that we expect, so therefore they were removed. And now we have a smaller group with the support of foreign referees, but we can see that I will not tolerate mistakes when I believe they are clear mistakes. We've had some clear mistakes in the last weeks that I will not tolerate in Greece, and they don't get matches. So maybe this is why some of the referees are not so satisfied, because they're not on the pitch, because they've had some poor performances. So the message is always clear to the referees. If they perform to the highest level, then they will receive matches. If they don't, then they will not receive any matches, and I will have to bring foreign referees in to supplement the appointments. But for me, if the Greek referees are refereeing well, then I will always put them in the pitch, because this is most important, that we are giving them more and more experience. We have some good referees in Greece, very good referees in Greece, some excellent, but they need my support. I try to tell the presidents not to contact the referees or anybody to contact the referees, because if they have a complaint, then I'm the boss. They can come to me and make any complaints they want. But it's not accepted that, and it was never accepted in my time as a referee, that anybody from a club would contact the referee before or after the match. And I want that to carry on. I tell the referees not to answer their mobile phones, because it's important that they are not spoken to before or after the match, and they concentrate on what they are paid to do, is to referee football matches in a fair way.
Κύριε Κλάτενμπεργκ, σε πρόσφατη συνέντευξή του ο Υπουργός Αθλητισμού, ο κ. Αβγενάκης, είπε ότι του είπατε ότι δέχεστε απειλές κατά τη ζωή σας. Αν είναι αλήθεια αυτό και αν θέλετε να πείτε κάτι παραπάνω.
I think it was very clear that there was different aspects of the threats. For example, on my social media accounts, every week there is this angry football fans from various clubs in Greece that will attack my social media accounts and send me threatening messages. So was that any different to me when I was a referee? No, because when I was a referee, I used to receive them also. So it's always one of the most difficult environments as a referee, and being the head of referee, you have to take some things. I think it was widely publicized in the media that I was followed to a restaurant, and photos were taken in my private life or private meetings. So it's always different that I have to take responsibilities that I'm the head of Greece. However, there is some things that are not correct, and I've spoken to the various people about these threats, and they have now been dealt with, and now the case is closed and we can move forward.
Κύριε Κλάτενμπεργκ, με ποια κριτήρια ορίζονται ξένοι διατητές για τα παιχνίδια? Παλιότερα ξέραμε το ότι παίζανε τα ντέρμπι, ησυχάσαμε και λίγο γιατί τα παράπονα λιγοστεύουν όταν οι διατητές είναι ξένοι. Τώρα το έχουμε χάσει λίγο, δεν υπάρχει πρωτόκολλο. Δεν ξέρουμε πού θα δούμε Έλληνες διατητές και πού θα δούμε ξένους.
Ναι, δεν είναι κριτήριο η βαθμολογία.
Και επειδή στην Ελλάδα το νούμερο ένα πρόβλημα είναι η καχυποψία, νομίζω ότι θα πρέπει να υπήρχε ένα πρωτόκολλο. Υπάρχει? Μπορείτε να μας πείτε με ποια κριτήρια και σε ποια μάτς ορίζονται ξένοι διατητές?
Sometimes it's very, very difficult to make appointments in Greece. We have, for example, just the Greek referees. Have they refereed the club 1 week before, 2 weeks before? Have they had a big problem in previous matches with the clubs? I want the clubs to feel confident when they are going into the matches. We also have clashes. For example, a referee from Thessaloniki doesn't want to referee a Thessaloniki team. So this is another issue that we have. So all these clashes sometimes cause me a problem where I have no referees to appoint or to the level. For example, Ionikos against the Tromatos the weekend previous was a very big match because there is so much at stake to stay in Super League 1. So sometimes the matches at the bottom of the table are more important than the matches at the top. So for me, I have to select based on what's available. For example, some referees are unavailable because of COVID. So I have selection problems. So it's not just why I'm choosing foreign referees. I have nothing available, but also when I'm selecting international referees, it's not so easy because we have Olympiacos and PAOK still operating in European competitions. The head of refereeing, Roberto Rossetti, still wants some referees to be available because if they referee in Greece, they cannot be selected for the Olympiacos PAOK matches in Europe. Also, we have meetings in UEFA. For example, this weekend we had a seminar online, so many of the referees could not arrive to Greece for selected matches. So we have to accept that sometimes we cannot get the best, the elite referees in Greece. We have to go to the first category. Is this giving me better performances? I'm not sure, because I believe that some referees in Greece are good referees, but many times, for example, it takes the pressure away from the Greek referees when sometimes the foreign referees come in to do certain matches. So it gives me a chance to appoint the Greek referees the following weeks to certain matches by just maybe 1 or 2 times bringing in foreign referees for different matches.
Προσφάτως, κύριε Κλάτενμπεργκ, σταμάτησαν τα βίντεο με τη δική σας ανάλυση, αποφάσεις αγωνιστικής. Όταν είχαν αρχίσει, είχατε πει ότι στόχος τους είναι η διεκπαίδευση και η διαφάνεια.
Και μας βοηθούσε.
Και μας βοηθούσε αυτό. Τώρα σταμάτησαν. Γιατί σταμάτησαν και αν δεν συντρέχει λόγος διαφάνειας και εκπαίδευσης?
Yeah, I think when I brought this analysis in, I believed it was a chance to show transparency, also to show to the referees that your communication, your audio will be released to everyone in Greece to make the referees more professional, which I believe this has happened. I thought at first it was very good to educate the decisions. However, now it was important now maybe to change the project, because I think everybody knew, or in general knew, what the handball law is, the fouls, the challenges. So now, the education side of it, I believe, was not so important. I believe that the referees now are more professional than ever. If the clubs want to speak to me on a weekly basis about some refereeing decisions, then I'm happy to reveal the audios to the clubs, to be transparent to all the clubs, which is the most important. And we will still carry this forward. But for the weekly videos to send out, I thought, and I'm still under this impression that it had lost its meaning of what it was meant for, and it was to educate. And I think now the Greek people are very educated in refereeing matters, very, very educated. And I believe now that we can move on to maybe look how we can develop this now for Super League 2, because one thing that I'm now looking to do is try and improve the refereeing in Super League 2.
Μια που μιλάμε για τα βίντεο και σας έχουμε εδώ, μένουμε με την απορία το τελικά ποιο χέρι είναι πέναλτι, και μια που σας έχουμε εδώ να μας το εξηγήσετε. Παλιότερα, αν η μπάλα χτυπούσε πρώτα στο σώμα ενός αμυντικού και μετά στο χέρι, δεν υπήρχε ποτέ πέναλτι. Τώρα βλέπουμε ότι σε ένα μάτς δίνεται πέναλτι, σε ένα άλλο μάτς δεν δίνεται πέναλτι. Και η εξήγηση είναι το ότι το χέρι δεν βρίσκεται σε φυσιολογική θέση. Εγώ έπαιζα μπάλα παλιά, δεν καταλαβαίνω ποια είναι η φυσιολογική θέση ενός χεριού, ενός παίχτη που πέφτει και κάνει tackling. Και υπάρχουν και μερικά παραδείγματα που θα μπορούσαμε να δείξουμε και να μας εξηγήσετε τελικά και να μάθει και ο κόσμος και εμείς. Ποια είναι η θέση του, ποια θέση του χεριού θεωρείται φυσιολογική, πότε είναι πέναλτι και πότε δεν είναι. Τουλάχιστον όσον αφορά τα χέρια.
Yeah, and I think handball is one of the most difficult, most subjective decisions in football. It's a one that never pleases everyone, even when I was a referee, because sometimes you give a handball in one area of the field, which was different to another area of the field. It's one of them where, as a referee, you go with you went with some feelings. However, you had some criteria. One of the criteria was always, were you making your body bigger? So when you're challenging for the ball, are your arms outstretched and therefore making your body bigger? That's one element we look at. Also, they changed the handball law. If you put your hands above your head at any point, above that head, then you would always whistle a penalty, because your hands should never be above your head, even if you're jumping for the ball. Because even if you jump for your ball, your hand comes to this point. It never becomes above the head. So you are looking for different criteria. But there is still this element of how far do we go when we talk about making your body bigger. If you move your hand away from your body, is this natural? Is it unnatural? So we still have this very subjective element. And we had one or two situations in the last weeks where the ball came off the foot, back onto the arm, because we still have this argument, is it a deliberate play or is it a deflection? If it's a deflection, it's dealt with more differently than a deliberate play, because if I deliberately play the ball with my foot and then it comes back onto my outstretched arm, then it cannot be a penalty because I deliberately played the ball. However, if I go to block the ball and I make the same action with my arm, it can be deemed a handball. So we have to also make this criteria. So we have a lot of criteria to make in a split second. And this is very difficult, but the VAR has all the video cameras, he has the slow motions, and he should be able to make that assessment. So the referees are very educated, and we had many seminars about handball. And we have had one or two situations in the last weeks where I don't believe they are handball. And the referees have been told, again, the message, what I believe that handball is, which is consistent to what UEFA's messages are to the top referees in Europe.
Παρ' όλα αυτά υπάρχουν ας πούμε, ένα παράδειγμα είναι στο μάτς ΠΑΟΚ Πας Γιάννενα, που χτυπάει πρώτα η μπάλα στο πόδι, εδώ ας πούμε.
Βλέπουμε μαζί, κύριε Κλάτενμπεργκ, κάποιες φάσεις, άρα λέτε, για να το διευκρινίσουμε, γιατί και ο κόσμος έχει μπερδευτεί. Αν χτυπήσει η μπάλα πρώτα στο κορμί και μετά στο χέρι, αυτό δεν σημαίνει απαραίτητα ότι δεν είναι πέναλτι.
Και το χέρι είναι πάνω από το ύψος του ώμου.
Αλλά έχει να κάνει με τη θέση του χεριού. Αυτό είναι το κριτήριο. Όχι για το αν η μπάλα χτυπάει πρώτα στο κορμί και μετά στο χέρι. Αυτό είναι το ένα.
Ένα είναι αυτό. Και το άλλο που θέλουμε να μας σχολιάσει και τα δύο είναι στο Ατρόμητος Άρης.
Ατρόμητος Άρης, υπάρχει ανάλογη περίπτωση. Θα θέλαμε το σχόλιο σας βλέποντας αυτές τις φάσεις για να καταλάβουμε κι εμείς, να εκπαιδευτούμε.
Το άλλο είναι αυτό. Σε αυτά τα δύο δεν σφυρίχθηκε πέναλτι και υπάρχει και η φάση στο ΠΑΟΚ Όφι, στο οποίο σφυρίχθηκε πέναλτι, το οποίο είναι παρόμοιο. Να τα μας σχολιάσω όλα μαζί. Εδώ.
I think this one, the one that the third video is wrong. I told the referees that they made the assessment clearly wrong, because in the first two videos we talk about a deliberate play for the ball. He deliberately went to play the ball with the foot. The first one, it came off his knee, onto his chest and onto his outstretched arm. So he's deliberately played the ball. So therefore, this cannot be a handball. If we look at the second one, he deliberately plays the ball with his foot. Okay, not to the highest level because he made a mistake and it hit his outstretched arm. For this, we cannot give penalty because it's a deliberate play for the ball. If we look at the third video, they made the assessment. He didn't deliberately play the ball. They believed it was a deflection. And because the referee and the VAR thought it was a deflection, they give the penalty. In my opinion, and the CRC's opinion, this was wrong.
Okay.
We believe that he played the ball with the foot. The ball came off the foot. And if the ball went out to the outside of the pitch, it would have been a corner. And there would have been no discussion. But even in this case, we believe, the CRC believe, the hand was not outstretched. It was very, very close to the body. It was very natural for the slide. And therefore, we believe that the criteria of handball was not met. And this was a clear mistake by the referee and the VAR, and they've been told so.
Πάντως αυτό όλο με το χέρι, ακόμη και χθες έγινε και στο ΠΑΟΚ Ολυμπιακός, γιατί και καλά κάνετε το διευκρινίζετε αυτό. Ο κόσμος ψάχνει να βρει αν το πρώτο κριτήριο είναι σώμα, χέρι. Έγινε μια φάση χθες προς το τέλος του παιχνιδιού του ΠΑΟΚ Ολυμπιακός με τον
αλλά από ό,τι μας είπε είναι το πιο δύσκολη απόφαση γιατί δεν είναι αντικειμενική.
Ναι, είναι και η επικαιρότητα που θα βγάζει συνέχεια. Πολύ συχνά τέτοιες φάσεις. Αυτή είναι η χθεσινή φάση. Θα βγάζει συχνά τέτοιες φάσεις και είναι καλό και ο κόσμος να εκπαιδεύεται όσο πιο συχνά γίνεται γι' αυτό και το ποια είναι. Αλλά είναι πάντα όπως μας το είπε και ο ίδιος, αυτή η φάση από χθες, κύριε Κλάτενμπεργκ.
If we go back to what I said before, the main criteria to understand, was it a deliberate play for the ball or was it a save? Because if there is a shot on goal, this is a save. He's tried to save the ball from going in the goal. So we have to check the criteria. The first point of contact, the first thought should be, is it a deliberate play or is it a deflection? This, as we can see from the PAOK Olympiacos match yesterday evening, it was very important. Another international referee from Portugal. So in the Portuguese league, they don't whistle this. In European competitions, they don't whistle this. We don't expect it to be whistled in Greece because the player played the ball with the foot. The ball rebounded up from the foot onto the arm, which was behind the body also. So therefore, none of the criteria was met. He didn't make his body bigger. It was a deliberate play. So therefore, play on is the correct decision. So the first interesting thing we have to understand is, was it a deliberate play for the ball? Or was he trying to save the ball going to the goal? Or was he trying to make a save to block the shot or the cross? And this is something we have to take the first consideration.
Είστε 1,5 χρόνο στην Ελλάδα. Τι έχετε δει από το ελληνικό ποδόσφαιρο? Πού πάσχει το ελληνικό ποδόσφαιρο, η ελληνική διατησία? Τι θα αλλάζατε αν ήταν στο χέρι σας και μπορούσατε να κάνετε τα πάντα?
I think we've seen some very interesting changes in Greek football. I think the Greek football is in a very, very good moment. I think teams now, some of the teams in the lower part of the league are fighting against the bigger teams, and I think it's making the league very, very interesting. Are we perfect with the refereeing? No. We are working very hard to improve the refereeing every week. I want to bring new referees in to try and improve the group. I will work 24 hours a day to keep this level of refereeing to the highest level. I want to give the Greeks referees the chance to go back to the pitch in the future, but when it's safe to do so and when I believe that the foreign referees are offering me no more better quality of refereeing. So I believe that bringing professional refereeing also to Greece, to remove the referees from their areas and to bring them to a central area in Athens that I can educate them every week or every 2 weeks. We can meet on a regular basis. They won't have to do their employment. This will give the referees more time to be dedicated to refereeing, and I believe that will improve the refereeing even more. So I have a very, very difficult job in Greece, but one that I enjoy doing. It's a big challenge. I can't keep everyone happy because if one team loses, they always complain. However, as long as I believe the decisions are fair, if the referee makes a mistake, I've been always open in the 18 months I've been in Greece. I've always said if the refereeing is wrong, because I believe that's the only way you can improve. I was wrong many times as a referee, many, many times. However, it's how you improve, because we are all human beings. We make mistakes in life. We make mistakes on the football pitch. We have to accept them. As long as they're human mistakes, then we can educate them and push them harder not to make their mistakes. For example, the handball that we've seen in the PAOK match, Pasiana, then we cannot accept this. And the referees are educated even more on what we expect from the pitch. And one of the most important things is how we implement the VAR, because not all the countries in Europe have VAR. We have in Greece. And the referees can make mistakes on the pitch because they're human. The VAR cannot, because they have all the video angles. So this is something we are striving for, is perfection. I believe that the referee mistakes are less than when I first arrived. And we will keep monitoring this and keep pushing for the best. And I hope that even though I have many complaints every week, I hope that people can see a difference in Greek football, and what we are trying as referees to improve them to be better. And I believe also they're not giving as many free kicks, and we are seeing more playing time, which is also important for the football and the quality.
Πάντως, κύριε Κλάτενμπεργκ, σε μια ακόμη μεγάλη διοργάνωση δεν είχαμε εκπροσώπηση από την ελληνική διατησία, δεν είχαμε Έλληνα διαιτητή. Αν αυτό σας απασχολεί, αναφέρομαι στο γύρο το πρόσφατο, αν είναι απόρρια το ότι δεν παίζουν πολύ οι Έλληνες στα ξένα παιχνίδια, αν θέλετε να σχολιάσετε επιστολές 2 διαιτητών Super League που παραιτήθηκαν αφήνοντας αιχμές για εσάς, και πόσο σύντομα πιστεύω ότι θα ξαναδούμε Έλληνα διαιτητή σε μεγάλη διοργάνωση.
As you're aware, I took over from Victor Pereira, so many things were made before my arrival. I've changed some of the international lists. We are seeing some good referees coming through now into FIFA. We have a process. We have some referees who are reaching a certain age, because maybe after 45, 46, you're not eligible for European matches. We are now have to go through a full process. This is why I need time to make sure that we bring referees now at a certain age and certain quality that gives them a chance to referee at the highest levels. We haven't had a referee. I remember Sideropoulos worked with me in France in the Euro. He was a 4th official for me for 2 matches. This was also important for his education, because working with the top referees also helps, because you can watch their performances like I did as a referee when I was working with top referees. So it's about the learning experiences, and if the referee has the qualities, they will have the chances in European competitions. This is for sure. But we have so many mistakes when we had referees going into Europe. We've had so many mistakes over the last 24, 36 months, 3 years. We have to improve this, because we have to make the change between Greek football and European football. And some referees cannot do this as well as some others. For example, when I was in the Premier League, I refereed a certain way, because in the Premier League, the referees played more advantages, more football. But in European competitions, there was a little bit more free kicks or tactical changes, so referees have to adapt. And sometimes the Greek referees haven't adapted so well. But with my experience and my expertise, I hope that I can pass this knowledge to the referees.
Κύριε Κλάτενμπεργκ, ευχαριστούμε πολύ που μας μιλήσατε απόψε. Ευχόμαστε καλή επιτυχία στη συνέχεια του έργου σας στην Ελλάδα.
Thank you for having me on your show. And my last message is to everyone is that we are all here to improve Greek football. And while I'm here as the head of CRC, this is what I will always try to do. But I need everybody's help. I need the people of Greece to support my project. I need the clubs to support. If we want to improve the refereeing, I have so much experience and knowledge. And this is why I was employed, to pass this knowledge on. And I hope I have the time to keep improving the Greek refereeing. So thank you for having me on.
Αυτή ήταν η συνέντευξη του Μαρκ Κλάτενμπεργκ, η πρώτη συνέντευξη του Άγγλου αρχιδιετή από την ώρα που ανέλαβε καθήκοντα στην Ελλάδα από τον Αύγουστο του 2020. Προφανώς και οι ερωτήσεις και τα θέματα είναι πολλά, είναι πάντα πολλά στο κομμάτι της διαιτησίας. Βγάζει συνέχεια πράγματα. Αυτή είναι η διαιτησία, είναι από τα αγαπημένα topics, ας πούμε, έτσι, θέματα με τα οποία ασχολείται και ο κόσμος και οι φίλαθλοι. Δεν μπορείς να την αφήσεις έξω από αυτό που λέμε ποδόσφαιρο. Μπορεί να έχεις τη διάθεση να δείξεις ανωτερότητα, μπορεί να είναι πολύ μεγάλο μέρος και πολύ μεγάλο κομμάτι. Μπορεί να υπάρχουν κάποιοι παράγοντες, ομάδες, οτιδήποτε παίκτες, μειονότητες που να λένε ότι ας αφήσουμε στην άκρη τη διαιτησία, ασχοληθούμε με τις ομάδες μας, αλλά η διαιτησία θα είναι πάντα.
Πολύ μεγάλο μέρος δεν είναι, Γιάννη.
Ποιο, του ποδοσφαίρου. Όταν υπάρχουν αποφάσεις που μπορεί να κρίνουν.
Κακώς. Τώρα με το VAR, ο διαιτητής βοηθάει στο να εξελιχθεί ένα παιχνίδι. Πολύ μεγάλο μέρος δεν μπορεί να είναι. Όσο μεγαλύτερο είναι, τόσο μεγαλύτερο πρόβλημα υπάρχει στο ποδόσφαιρο.
Βέβαια, στο τέλος της ημέρας καταλαβαίνεις ότι υπάρχουν φάσεις. Η διαιτησία είναι από τα αγαπημένα topics, ας πούμε, έτσι, θέματα με τα οποία ασχολείται και ο κόσμος και οι φίλαθλοι. Δεν μπορείς να την αφήσεις έξω από αυτό που λέμε ποδόσφαιρο. Αυτή είναι η διαιτησία, είναι από τα αγαπημένα topics, ας πούμε, έτσι, θέματα με τα οποία ασχολείται και ο κόσμος και οι φίλαθλοι.
Που με το χέρι δεν έχω καταλάβει ακόμα και τώρα που μιλάμε, ενώ το ρωτήσαμε.
Ναι,
και δεν έχω καταλάβει γιατί μας είπε ότι είναι υποκειμενικό έτσι.
Ναι, αυτό ήθελα να πω. Υπάρχουν φάσεις οι οποίες στο τέλος της ημέρας θα πεις ότι είναι και η απόφαση είναι στην προσωπική κρίση του διαιτητή. Απλώς προσπαθείς βάζοντας συνεχώς κριτήρια. Και η φάση του χεριού είναι μια τέτοια δύσκολη πάντα περίπτωση για οποιοδήποτε διαιτητή. Βάζοντας κριτήρια να εξασφαλίσει τον όσο δυνατόν να υπάρχει μια ίδια αντιμετώπιση σε φάσεις από όλους τους διαιτητές. Αυτό εγώ κατάλαβα. Ότι είπε. Δηλαδή, είπε ότι δεν υπάρχουν αυτά που ξέραμε. Δηλαδή, δεν απαραίτητο άμα χτυπήσει σώμα-χέρι ότι δεν είναι πέναλτι.
Ναι, παλιότερα ήταν μέχρι πριν 2 χρόνια.
Δεν απαραίτητο το αν το χέρι είναι πάνω το κεφάλι ότι θα δώσει πέναλτι 100%. Εξαρτάται από την κίνηση που θα κάνει το χέρι. Μπορεί να υπάρχει το κριτήριο το χέρι μου αν είναι σε αφήσει τη θέση μεγαλώνει το σώμα. Αλλά εκεί θα παίξει και ρόλο το αν το χέρι μου μεγαλώντας το σώμα έχει πρόθεση να πάει στην μπάλα. Εκεί δηλαδή αυτό που προσπαθούσε να αναλύσει με το ηθελημένο χτύπημα του ποδιού και τη διαφορά του ηθελημένου χτυπήματος με τη σπόντα, ειλικρινά εμένα λίγο μου ζέστανε τα μηνύκια. Προσπαθούσα να καταλάβω, είχα συγκεντρωθεί τόσο πολύ για να μην χάσω οξία που λένε, για να καταλάβω τι ακριβώς θέλει να πει. Και αυτό που λέει είναι ότι μπορεί
αυτό που
να
καταλαβαίνουμε, αυτό που λέει είναι το ότι υπάρχει πρόβλημα στον ορισμό.
Ποιον ορισμό? Του χεριού. Τι λέμε χέρια. Δηλαδή, όσο και να το βάλεις κριτήριο, αυτό κριτήριο δεν μπορεί να είναι.
Μέχρι στιγμής υπάρχει πρόβλημα.
Ήταν σαφής η θέση που πήρε για κάποιες φάσεις που από την αρχή του πρωταθλήματος εμείς του δείξαμε φάσεις συγκεκριμένες για αυτό το κομμάτι. Γιατί με τα χέρια, όντως, σε αυτό το πρωτάθλημα συζητάμε πάρα πολύ για το χέρι. Δεν είναι. Και δείξαμε φάσεις ακόμη και όταν έδιναν βίντεο στη δημοσιότητα.
Ναι,
σε σχέση με την περίοδο που σταματήσανε τα βίντεο, έτσι.
Ναι, σταματήσανε γιατί είπε ο κ. Κλάτενμπεργκ ότι πλέον έχει εκπαιδευτεί το ελληνικό κοινό. Από ό,τι φαίνεται δεν έχει εκπαιδευτεί το ελληνικό κοινό, διότι και εμείς οι δύο ελληνικό κοινό είμαστε και ακόμα δεν έχουμε εκπαιδευτεί. Προσπαθούμε να καταλάβουμε. Άρα διαφωνώ στο ότι ήταν περιττό το να συνεχίσουμε τα βίντεο. Κατά τη γνώμη μου θα έπρεπε να συνεχιστούν για να μαθαίνουμε περισσότερο και να υπάρχει μεγαλύτερη διαφάνεια. Ο λόγος που χειροκροτήσαμε όταν είπε ότι θα τα κάνει.
Ναι, βέβαια το σκεπτικό του είναι αυτό που είπες, που φαίνεται στην πράξη να μην ισχύει, αφενός, ότι εκπαιδευτήκαμε, έχουμε κάθε εβδομάδα θέλουμε να μαθαίνουμε,
ναι,
που λέει ο λόγος, δεν πειράζει.
Δεν με έπεισε καθόλου.
Οκ, εντάξει, αλλά λέει, επιπροσθέτως, ότι μπορώ να δώσω τα ηχητικά σε όποιον θέλει. Όποια ομάδα λέει μου ζητήσει το ηχητικό, μπορεί να το πάρει, να ακούσει ποιος είναι ο διάλογος σε εκείνη τη φάση του διαιτητή.
Εντάξει, οκ. Άλλο το ένα, άλλο το άλλο.
Λοιπόν. Εντάξει, είπε κάποια πράγματα βέβαια που δεν ξέρω τώρα αν θα έχει το χρόνο ο ίδιος ή αν θα έχει το χρόνο και το ελληνικό ποδόσφαιρο και με άλλον παρόντα ή και με τον ίδιο παρόντα. Δηλαδή δεν ξέρω πότε μπορεί να μπει VAR στη Super League 2. Εδώ είπαμε και κάναμε αμάν και
δεν είναι εύκολο όμως, έτσι.
Ποιο?
Όχι μόνο να μπει, να χειρίζεσαι και σωστά το VAR.
Ναι, να υπάρχει εκπαίδευση τότε, να έχει εκπαιδευμένους τους.
Εδώ πέρα ακόμα δεν έχουμε φτιάξει την πρώτη εθνική, θα πάει στο Super League 2.
Ναι, γι' αυτό λέω δεν ξέρω πότε αυτό μπορεί να γίνει. Και βέβαια, εν τη ρήμη του λόγου, είπε ότι τώρα κοιτάμε και τη Super League 2 είναι ένα πρωτάθλημα το οποίο καλά. Το είχαμε καταλάβει και από το πότε άρχισε, 1 Νοέμβρη, ότι είναι λίγο παρατημένο στη μοίρα του κι ας είναι τη δεύτερη τάξη κατηγορία. Πόσο μάλλον όταν θα φτάσει εκεί ο πολιτισμός της διατησίας, ας το πούμε έτσι, με τεχνολογικά επιτεύγματα και VAR. Χαρακτήρισε το τοξικό περιβάλλον, το είπε για το ελληνικό ποδόσφαιρο τοξικό περιβάλλον και νομίζω ότι είχε ενδιαφέρον ανάμεσα σε όλα τα άλλα το ότι ήθελε να βγάλει από την κουβέντα τους Big Four. Το οποίο δηλαδή και το ρωτήσαμε, ενώ περνάει από συνέντευξη από τους Big Four. Στο τέλος της ημέρας ο ίδιος λέει ότι δεν είναι απόφαση δική τους, ούτε με ενδιαφέρει το ότι θα πούνε οι Big Four. Και ας είναι, λέει, άνθρωποι με επιρροή, όπως το είπε, πολύ ισχυροί άνθρωποι στην Ελλάδα είναι οι ιδιοκτήτες των Big Four, αλλά δεν εξαρτάται από αυτούς.
Σωστή ήταν η απάντησή του. Σωστή ήταν. Εύχομαι να ήταν και ειλικρινής.